Hello, everyone, and we're live. Welcome to this masterclass. I'm Mark. We'll be starting in about 5 or 6 minutes, waiting for people to join in. And I want to say already, hi, Daniel. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Hi, Mark.
Happy to have you here, man.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Lovely to do this together with you.
Again, this is going to be the second edition, so super excited. We know the stuff much better than that we did the first time, so you're in for a really good story, guys. There is a public chat, and I encourage you to do this. Hi, Tim. Tim already found the public chat. I encourage you to use the chat, ask questions. There we go. There we go. Sabina will be in. She's our chat moderator, chat superstar. Yeah, chat superstar sounds much better, right, Daniel? So yeah, say hi and say where you're from. I saw a lot of people from Sweden signing up. Yeah, you have a lot of fans there, Daniel.
Yeah.
So if you're from if you're from Sweden, let me know which city, because we had so many people from Sweden signing up. We are flooded by some cities. Stockholm. People are flocking in. We'll be sharing what we'll be doing in a few minutes, just to get you excited. And Daniel, what is the highlight of your week so far? You know, you didn't expect that question, so.
I mean, no, I didn't expect it at all. I think maybe the highlight is that we today went through a lot of figures, a lot of analytics in Castellans, and it's been a long summer. You know, people take a few, like 5-6 weeks off actually in Sweden during the summer. We went through those figures, and it looks lovely. So that was really fun. We did that today together with my colleague Sabina.
You were digging into Excel.
Yeah, kind of, and that's very exciting. And for you, Mark, what was?
The highlight. I'm still really excited to do this. And so many people have signed up, so I think it's going to be a full house. That's definitely going to be one of the highlights for this week. And like you said, people are starting up here in the Netherlands as well. So for us, projects are starting up. Next week is like full of new, exciting stuff, meetings, new clients. You can really feel that the summer is ending, right?
Mm-hmm. And also that we go to a new season in kind of customer journey and customer-centric work. And for every half year or every year, I mean, it's really growing how people are focusing on customer centricity, and it's so lovely to see.
And if you're just tuned in and you're wondering who these two guys are, I'm Mark, this is Daniel. We'll introduce ourselves in a few minutes, but for now, we're going to wait like 2 or 3 more minutes for other people to join in, and in the meantime, say hi. A lot of people have found the chat, said hi already. I see India, Germany, India again, Karlstad, yeah, Sweden, a lot of fans there. Canada. Hi, Yvonne. Wow, Canada.
That's really cool. People from all over the world.
Madrid. Cool guys. So Sabina will be helping you out. Austria. Hey, Agnieszka. Dzień dobry from Poland. I was there on my holiday last week visiting relatives. So Sao Paulo, cool. Haven't seen anyone from Asia or Australia yet, but it's like 4 in the morning there. Hey, Moritz, cool. So many people in. Are you excited about this, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm just watching the chat there, people. That's really cool.
Hey, Ben from Leeuwarden. Nice. Also a local Dutchman. Let's see if there are more people from the Netherlands here. Yeah, we'll be here. That's maybe a good tip. First one, put your phone on silent, guys, because you don't want a lot of distractions. The speed will be really high. We'll be telling you a lot, so be prepared to make notes, make screenshots. Get all the distractions out of the way. Take a glass of water, because I think we'll be here yeah, definitely 90 minutes. That's the story we've got for you. We're going to give you as much as we can in as little time as possible.
You've probably seen Sabina there. She's moderating the chat.
That side. No, that side. Somewhere over there.
Yeah, she's a colleague in Castellans.
Say hi, Sabina. Let's see if there you are. And Sabina will be on the watch out for your questions and forwarding them to us and trying to answer your questions live. So yeah, go ahead. Feel free to ask anything you'd like to know.
Oh, Wu from China. Welcome.
Wow.
And
welcome.
Cool. So yeah, now we have people from all over the world in Los Angeles. Cool. Hi, John.
Daniel, I think it's about time to start, right? Let's not keep the people who are joined in on time waiting. And the service design meetup community, awesome.
Cool.
One final tip regarding technology, because it's sometimes it fails on us. That happens. We're using a platform called Demio. Usually it's pretty stable, but if it doesn't work, plan B is try it on your mobile phone. On Android, it just works in your browser. On iPhone, I think they have an app, and you can just reload your browser window, do it in Chrome. Usually it just picks up again. And let's hope the technology gods will be kind to us this evening. All right, I'm going to switch over to the slides, Daniel.
Yeah,
let's see. Start sharing my screen. There we go. Click. I need to click here. All right. Can everybody see my slides? Can you see my slides, Daniel?
Yeah, I see them perfectly.
All right. Okay. There we go. There we go, guys. Super excited that we're here. Welcome to the Customer Journey Mapping Essentials Masterclass. We're going to help you discover what it takes to create maps on a professional level with confidence the next day. Again, if you're just tuned in, say hi in the chat, do it in your native language. That's even more fun. So, what can I expect in the coming 90 minutes? Like I said, it's really a masterclass. We're going to try to give you information that is applicable the next day. There are a lot of topics we're going to cover. I'll tell you in a minute what they are. But yeah, be prepared for a real masterclass. Who are we? On the other side of the screen, it's Daniel. We'll do a longer introduction in a few minutes. I'm Mark. I'm the host of this evening, and I'll do the introduction and the wrap-up of this masterclass. And Daniel is here to give us the real meat of this masterclass. So, yeah, if you want to know more about us, look us up on LinkedIn, I guess. And I think a lot of people know you already, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
You're famous.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, at least in Sweden, Nordics, and Europe.
And now also in Los Angeles, I guess. Cool. Hi from Boston. Now, happy to see so many comments coming in. Right. As I said, 90 minutes, it's a long time. So is this worth your time? This is still your chance to bail out on us. Is this masterclass for you? Here are a few questions that will help you to figure it out. You want to create customer journey maps, but don't know where to start. You're already making maps, but you're not sure if you're doing it, right? That's what we're going to cover today. Point 3. If you're overwhelmed by the amount of information about customer journey maps that is out there and you would like to have a clear and credible guide on how to create them, stick around because we can help you with that. 4 is if you want to avoid time-consuming mistakes when creating customer journey maps. And finally, I think there's number 5. Yeah, and number 5 is we're going to cover so much. At the end, let us know what you get out of this. But this is definitely, if you're interested in one of these things, stick around because this masterclass is just what you need. So our promise today, this is what Daniel and I agreed upon. By the end of this masterclass, you'll know exactly what it takes to create customer journey maps on a professional level. So, you know, that you can move forward with confidence, knowing that the time and effort you're going to invest in creating these maps is actually worthwhile, right? Stick around for the next 5 minutes and we'll explain everything, how we're going to do that. Topics we'll cover. There we go. There are a few, so pay close attention. This is what Daniel is going to talk about in a few minutes. Why customer journey maps in the first place? How and when should I use customer journey maps? What is a customer journey map? The most basic question probably. How does a customer journey map differ from a service blueprint, an experience map, and a few other things? That's what Daniel is going to share with us today. What are the steps to create a customer journey map? The main blocks, we can't tell you everything, but the main blocks. And how much time do I need to create a customer journey map? Also a common question. And what are customer journey maps on a professional level? Maybe that's the big question of today. This is what we're going to cover in the next 60, 90 minutes. So be prepared, again, to take notes. It's a cool story that Daniel has for us. Right. Customer journey maps. If you Google and click on images, you'll see something like this. Everybody is doing customer journey maps these days. And it's not just the service design people. And I hope if there's one thing you get out of this masterclass, it's that you must understand why you must be doing customer journey mapping to succeed as a business in 2018. Why is it so important to actually use customer journey maps in your business? For now, I want you to forget what you know about customer journey maps. We're going to sort of try to infuse you with new information and everything you read so far about customer journey maps. Put that aside for a second. Try to listen to the story with a beginner's mind and absorb everything we're going to share with you. Try to look at this from a fresh perspective. All right. Here's the truth, guys. We probably all face the same challenge. And currently, almost every business is realigning its activities to be more customer-centric, right? That's the key area. Customer experience, customer centricity. Everybody's talking about it. All companies, organizations want to become more customer-centric. For some companies, it's about gaining a competitive advantage. For others, like the public sector, it's really about it's their duty to be customer-centric, right? So they have different incentive, but everybody is doing it. And here's the thing. Companies have a lot of customer insights laying around. They are already there. And with every new project, even more insights are generated. And one of the big challenges is that it's really hard to structure these insights in a meaningful way. This is a picture from a random customer journey mapping session that you probably all recognize, these long posters with a lot of colored sticky notes. And how do you structure that? This is what we are going to talk about today. So with all those insights laying around, there's a big problem. And the big problem is if you aren't able to turn those insights into actions that have a positive impact on people and business. So you need to have a way to structure those insights and do it effectively, do it in an effective way in order to have them be useful, right? You can have all the insights in the world, but if you aren't able to turn those insights into actions, they have little value. Why am I telling you all this? As I'm just the opening act of this of this masterclass. I'm telling you this because being able to effectively act upon these insights is what sets leading customer-centric organizations apart from the laggards. This is key. If you can act upon these insights, you will win. Yeah, that's the key message here. So I hope I don't have to explain this to you guys who are already in this masterclass, but customer centricity, it has been proven by many researchers already that it adds value to the bottom line. This is a research by McKinsey, but there are many other researchers that customer centricity helps revenue growth, it increases customer satisfaction, and it lowers the cost to serve. But then again, I hope I don't need to convince you of the business case for for customer centricity. But if you need to convince someone else, there's plenty of material out there. If you just tuned in, say hi in the chat. We just started, so the big part is still yet to come. Like I said, turning insights into actions. Don't worry, there is hope. And yes, customer journey maps can be a really powerful tool to help you achieve a more customer-centric organization if they are created and used in a professional manner. That's super important because not all customer journey maps are created equally, and that's what we're going to share with you today. So once you get the hang of this, and this is creating maps on a professional level, you'll be able to take the right steps toward creating customer-centric change. It will help you to get the things done that you want to get done faster. You'll have a stronger influence on decision-making related to customer experience. You'll be able to get people committed to a customer-centric roadmap. So not just one single intervention, not just a single touch point, but really influence a multi-year strategy. That's what you're going to be able to do. And you'll know where to invest your time to make the biggest impact. This is all the potential that is lying in front of you once you get the hang to how to make customer journey maps on a professional level. And here's the secret. Let me know in the chat if you recognize any of these points, because I think you're going to achieve professional customer journey maps without needing to have years of experience making or creating or having to invest days, maybe even weeks in creating a map before seeing results. I see this so often. People put so much effort into this, they get lost in details and never see results. You can do this without being dependent on other departments. This is also what I hear a lot, right? We can't move forward, or we can't create the map because a different department has the information. They're not willing to contribute. They're not participating in our workshops. Sometimes you don't need them, and we'll show you how. And it also, you can do this without requiring large amounts of user research data to start. I know the mantra in service design is, if you do anything, do research, but we'll show you that you can also start with very little research and get the process going. And finally, you don't have to be a graphic designer to create maps on a professional level. This is also a big misconception. All right, and I think here's a slide with us too, again. Daniel, for the people who tuned in and don't know who you are, could you share a little bit about your background and why you are in this masterclass?
I'm a service design pioneer. I was originally in industrial designer, but started to work with service development in '99. So, and at that time, '98, '99, I formed a service design agency called Transformative Design that I've been working with for 20 years. Since the year I left that, and I started to do my first customer journeys. We have never heard that word. We have never a clue about how to do. We just try to figure out a way to start to work with those things in about 2000. So I've been doing this for 18 years, and now mainly in Sweden, Nordics, but helped clients all around the world with this. So that's me. And since a few years now, I'm only working with Castellans.
We see the Castellans banner behind you. We'll be talking and using Castellans on the other side. We'll be using Castellans throughout the presentation. What is Castellans for the people who don't know what it is?
It's a SaaS software. It's a tool that you log into, like a Trello, but it's a Trello for customer journeys. So you use it to create your customer journeys, to share it with others, to save your data in one place, and it's very easy, and it looks extremely. You could do professional things in without having to have a designer degree or designer tools, but also for sharing, because it's all about sharing things and get things going.
Like I said, we're going to people will be seeing examples of Castellans throughout the presentation, but the story that we are doing here today is not specifically tied to any tool you could do. Whatever we're going to talk about with post-its and stickies, just know that there are tools out there that can help you to speed up this process and take it to the next level, right? That's basically the story.
Yeah, I mean, the things that we talk about, they're not, they do not stick to Castellans in any way. You could use them however you work.
So you're a service design veteran, not a veteran, because that's a guy who is an animal doctor. Anyway, I'm Mark. I co-founded a service design agency called 31 Volts in the Netherlands. That was back in 2007. So I'm not as long in the game as Daniel is, but we've been doing service design projects for the last 12 years, big, small, public, non-profit, profit, you name them. And in the last 2 years, I've been running a thing called the Service Design Show, which you probably, I think, know, as a lot of people signed up through the website of the Service Design Show. It's a platform for sharing content to create a deeper and more meaningful conversation in the design community. And I try to share interviews with service design pioneers like Daniel, and also share some of the lessons that we've learned in the last 12 years. If you don't know the Service Design Show, I recommend you check it out. It's on YouTube. You can find it as a podcast. But today we'll move on in this masterclass. So basically, we're giving you 30 years and more of service design experience. That's what you've got in front of you guys. Right. What is Castellans? Well, I didn't know this slide was coming, but in summary, easy to use tool for creating customer journey maps, user stories, experience maps, service blueprints. And you can get a free membership at castellans.com. We'll talk about that later, also in the presentation. But if you haven't tried Castellans, I really recommend go make an account and just try around and play with it. Right. Who are you? Because we told you a little bit about ourselves, but there are a lot of people in the chat. I'm really excited what's going to happen right now. But leave a comment right now and tell us, what is your role? Are you a product developer? Are you a marketeer? Are you a customer experience manager? Are you a researcher? What is your sort of title, if you have one? Let us know in the chat. I'm really curious, Daniel. Do you remember what we got, what kind of results we got the first time?
No, but I actually recognize it. Marketers, UX designer, change maker,
researchers,
manager,
strategist, researcher, CTO. All right. And it will be interesting. A lot of people from the UX community.
Yeah.
Welcome, guys. Nice to have you.
That's really good. I mean, the journey map is an excellent tool to create better UX.
Industrial design and business developer. That's
cool.
It's also interesting for you guys to see that there's a big diversity in people who are interested in this topic of customer journey mapping and customer experience. This is not something that is allocated in a small silo, right? Every customer experience is like a responsibility of everyone. Business developers, head of CX, cool.
I think the least common factor for those people is the will to create a better customer experience, whatever they are. I mean, a will to just make it better for the customer and thereby for the business.
You're absolutely right, and I'm scrolling through the names, and I hadn't seen a single service designer in here. So that is cool. Again, welcome everybody. I hope you'll enjoy the next next hour with us. Welcome everybody.
Yeah, nice to see. Thanks.
We also ask a quote from someone who is actually creating customer journey maps, coincidentally using Castellans. This is a quote by Anna, and she said, after a few days creating customer journey maps with Castellans, we were able to engage and get everyone on board. It was like rocket fuel in our development process. Castellans makes it easy to agree on customer needs and prioritize based on that. I think this is also really common, right? Getting people aligned and then prioritizing. A lot of people struggle with that as well. So we could have added many comments like this, but just to also give you an impression what happens, what's the possibility if you really start doing this in the way yeah, that works. We're almost at the point where I can hand over the slides to Daniel. There are just one or two things I'd really like to say, because at the end of this masterclass, I'll show you how you can start creating your own customer journey maps with our guidance. The last time in the last masterclass, there were people at the end who were really excited about the masterclass, but said, okay, could you help me create the maps? Could you guide me? Could you show me how to do it the first time, the second time? And we've got something for you if you're interested in that. So we'll be talking about that at the end. I think the next slide will be yours, Daniel. So I hope you're prepared, because let's go back to the beginning and let's continue with your story. And that is, Daniel, why do we need customer journey maps in the first place? Why do we need them?
Yeah.
And I'm really curious what your
I changed my slides here.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So welcome, everyone. So happy to see so many people in. My slides are gone, and we're going to move to Daniel. I see a black screen, and I see a purple screen.
Perfect.
I think we're off, Daniel. Take it on.
Star. Okay, great. So lovely. You can see my slides, and then I go.
I see your slides clearly.
So why do we need customer journeys in the first place? I mean, when everything is alike, which it is in so many businesses today, I mean, the customer experience is the only differentiator, and it goes very quickly forward in a lot of sectors today, where the customer experience is actually what differentiates. And when it is like that, the customer journey map is the absolute best way to visualize our offer or service from a customer's perspective. That is why there are customer journey maps in the first place. And it is also like this, that the one knowing the customers best and have the ability to transform that into offers will be a winner. And hopefully you agree with me, or I think you do, or probably tell me in the chat that the one who knows the customer best will be, and can do something on it, will be a winner. And the customer journey map, again, is the best model to visualize our offer from a customer's perspective. So those are the main reasons why there are customer journey maps, and why it's so widely spread and are used in so many different areas today.
And Daniel, again, something you haven't prepared for, but do you remember the first time that you actually used the customer journey map?
That was in 2000. We did a project for Scania, commercial vehicles, and we tried to understand how we could make a more smooth experience for the customer. And we had no idea how to do it, because there were only processes and a lot of different departments meeting the customer. So we tried to somehow just make a row of that. And yes, and now it's 18 years ago we did that first time.
Cool.
And when to use this, and when to do customer journey maps. Make customer journey maps to get your customer's perspective in a structured way, to get your kind of customers' glasses on you. And your organization needs the customer's perspective on your business. I think this explains very well what are the outcomes and what are the benefits with journey maps. This is a person. It's a leader membership organization in Sweden, and Christina, she said this: by visualizing the connection between the customer journey and the internal processes, support systems, and points of contact, it's easier to ensure that the prioritized changes actually contribute to a better customer experience. So to really put the fingers on what's important here, to work with our internal things, what we do, our internal activities, processes, to connect that to the customer customer needs and customer journey. So why are maps so important, and what's the reason we humans create and use maps? This is not a customer journey map, it's a map in the phone. But the main reason for that is to tell you where you are and how to get from A to B. You are somewhere and you want to go somewhere. And that's the same reason why customer journey or journey maps are also important. And this is a lovely story about maps. It was a military platoon that crashed during the World War II in the Alps, somewhere in the Alps, Switzerland or France or something, and many of them died. And they were without rescue, and they also almost had given up. And suddenly, among all those things that they could find in the plane, they found a map, and they could locate where they were, and started to walk to the closest village, because they looked at the map and they figured out this is where we are and we should go in that direction. So they started to work to walk, and when they found this map, they started to believe. They started to believe that they will make it, they will survive, and they will succeed. And they reached this village after walking for a long time, and most of them survived. And after a while, they realized, this is the most interesting thing with this story, is that the map that they had found, it was over another massive. It wasn't the right map, but they have used the map and started to walk in one direction. So I think this really points out the importance of a map, that it creates a common understanding, and it creates a kind of hope in this story. So it guides them and made them executing rather than discussing different alternatives. Should we do that or should we do that? And even if the map was wrong, it saved those guys. I think that's a lovely way of seeing. Maybe this story is a kind of a little bit made up, and it's tweaked a little bit, but it really gets to the point why maps are so important,
so powerful. Yeah.
And so customer journeys, they are powerful insights about how the customer's step when going through our offer. And maps are powerful to establish the understanding of where we are and shall go from here. And if you put those two together, customer journey maps are super powerful to establish the understanding of the customer's perspective on our offer in order to make it brilliant. So that's when you combine those two, and that is what the customer journey map is. So how should I use the customer journey map? This is how you should use it. Document and structure your customer insights and solution in one place. That is one of the reasons or the usage of a customer journey map.
Yeah, because right now insights are all over. They are in presentations, they are in documents, they are in PowerPoint slides, they are on Post-its.
Yeah. And they are usually not documented in a way that you could follow it from a customer's perspective. You have to jump back and forth. Maybe this is the interactive, how the experience in the mobile, and then we go ahead. This is the experience in the store, and how those, and that's another report and on another department. And how do we understand when the customer starts in the phone, do something, then they call someone, and then they go to the store? That's why we need the customer journey maps. And use it as a change plan, going from A to B. So see the customer journey map as a plan for change. and get stakeholders aligned, boost engagement, and create buy-in. Another very important reason why customer journey maps. I mean, without stakeholder alignment and without the buy-in from stakeholders, you could have the greatest ideas and the greatest solutions, but nothing will happen. So
I saw a comment by Judy in the chat who said that I found the mountain story rather confusing because can you use a wrong map? But I think the point of the story of the ops is really about this, right? Getting people aligned and to take action instead of, right?
That is the meaning of that story. And also that I haven't yet seen any customer journey maps that are 100% right, because then you put so much effort in them, so they are probably not accurate when they are ready. So you have to do something that is good enough, that align people around it, and then you can create better and better and better. And that is another reason for this. That probably of course, in this Alp story, it was totally the wrong map, but also that helped them. So it's better to have a map than nothing. And use a customer journey map to prioritize, and either it's to fix what's broken or to drive innovation. It could be both. I mean, that we have a lot of things in our experience that is broken and parts that we have to innovate and go forward with. And so what is a customer journey map? I mean, that's a very good question to answer. This is how it is. A customer journey map is a visualization of your customer steps with additional customer insights in a chronological lineup from left to right of your customer's way through your offer, service, or experience. And the basic elements in a customer journey map looks like this. Customer steps with, maybe searching for options, exploring different options, those are the customer steps. And to that added some insights for each step, and then emotions, and plus something. So, and what is that something? There is a consensus about the elements that has to be in a customer journey map, the steps, the insights, the emotions, but not what can be added and still call it customer journey map. There's no world consensus about what we can add. But the interesting thing is here that the value comes from what we add for the execution. This is what the change driving lanes. And I'll give you an example of what this, the most simple one here. On the top here, we have phases, customer journeys, customer needs, emotional curves. Okay, those are just, it's a world consensus. This is the customer journey map. But why do we need those? We need those in this case to understand and get a common view on potential opportunities to start to create ideas and solutions. So that is what we add, and that's where the value is created. So the customer journey map is made to achieve change. And this is another way to look at it. I mean, it's to glue the customer journey into a seamless, smooth, and lovely experience. And it could be different channels like digital, phone, store. And what we are doing is, when doing customer journey maps, the whole purpose is to have the glue between them and glue them together. And why we're doing this is, and how it's used with those additional change lanes that I talked about earlier. I mean, on the top here, you have the customer journey and the experience. And on the bottom, we have touch point, something that is sent to the customer. It is an internet thing, it's a mobile thing, and the company solutions and touch points. And interesting is that the CX leading organizations, they understand the connection between the customer needs and the solutions. This is also CX leading organizations do. And it's based on the customer journey. While the CX laggers, what they do, they develop with a low level of understanding of the customer's reality and needs, which means that in this case, this is a web touch point. They have no idea how that is connected to the customer's journey. And those are the CX laggers.
And because they are working in an isolated environment, chances are high that their solutions won't actually address the true needs of customers, right?
Yeah. Are they actually needed? How are they connected to the environment, to the context, when it happens before and after? They work in a too small bubble. And when it pops up for the customers, maybe just a touch point that, they don't understand it and they don't need it. It's very common. So, how does the customer journey map differs from? I mean, there is a lot of
classic question. Yeah.
Other maps related to the customer journey map, and I'll go through that. And I mean, ask questions during I'm talking. It's very interesting to see in the chat. Okay, how does the customer journey map differ from the user journey map? Basically, a user map are the same as a customer journey map. Customer journey maps are called user maps when not having customers or calling them customers. For instance, in public sector, when it's a kid, it's a baby here, and that kid is not, she don't have a wallet. She's not a customer, she is a user. Or maybe someone you're doing the service for someone who's not in charge for the actual purchase. Or when the development does not consider users or customers, it could be someone else. And then it's a user journey map, but the principles are exactly the same. And when to make it? I mean, make it when you don't have any transactions or interact with the buyer. And how does the customer journey map differ from the employee journey map? You've probably heard about employee journey maps. Customer journey maps and employee journey maps are basically the same again, except that what's given in the word there, that the important difference is that the employee journey map lists the employee steps and additional insights, and if the employee was a customer, as if the employee was a customer in an internal system. So make employee journeys when the customer is an employee. And this is very interesting that it's an example of, this is extremely powerful to put the customer journey and the employee journey side by side and understand the gap between those. What do our customers need and what do our employees need to make the best experience? You probably heard about experience maps. So what's the difference between a customer journey map and how does it differ from the experience map? A customer journey map and experience map, they're basically the same again, except that an experience map focuses on the customer's experience and emotions. That's the main reason for creating the experience map. And when to do those? I mean, when you mainly need to focus on bad experience and how to fix bad experiences. As this slide shows, I mean, maybe you have two very low points in your emotional curve and just have to want to push those up, or the whole line you want to push up the line. And then maybe it's better to call it an experience map and emphasize the experience curve or curves in this one. And the purpose of this is usually to build empathy internally, because with empathy comes a lot of will to change. So the purpose of an experience map is to create empathy so people feel that, how could it be so bad? Why are we doing so bad? Can't we do better? And so that's when to use experience map. You probably heard about service blueprints. So how?
It's actually it's actually a question Lisandre asking 10 seconds ago. So go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah. I don't have time all the time to look in the chat.
Yeah, I know. I'm keeping an eye on that for you.
So thanks, Mark, for noticing. Okay, I go on. Okay, the service blueprint. How do customer journey maps and blueprints? What's the difference between them? Actually, the service blueprint, they contains of customer journey maps in the upper part, and the internal steps, how to deliver the service and touch points. So if you see this, it slides on the customer journey on the top, and then we have the on stage, the touch points, and then we have the backstage with the internal activities, processes, support systems, etc. And this is the service blueprint, which means the customer journey is one part of the service blueprint. And when to make this, when to make a service blueprint, or when to start to call this a service blueprint. Make a service blueprint when working on the delivery of a better customer journey, when you are very down into how is this linked to our processes, to our IT, to our systems, activities. That's when it's very good to build on the customer journey with the backstage parts here. And I often get this question: how does the customer journey map differ from the process map? The process map contains of internal processes, as we all know, and how the different internal processes steps connect to each other. One process, another process, how are they connected to each other? This is regardless how they connect to the customer journey. So in my slide is here, how is this activity connected to the customer? No idea. That's not the purpose of a process map. The purpose of a process map is how is one process connected to another process? How it's connected to the customer, that's not the process map's issue to solve or to illustrate. So when to make process maps? I mean, make process maps when the connection to the customer journey map is not important. And when you don't have maybe any customers to care about, which there's not that many cases. But what is happening now is very often that the backstage activities in the service blueprint gives the answer to by relating the customer journey map. So if you see here that the backstage activities, they are the same kind of activities that you can find in a process map, but in the service blueprint, you see how they are connected to the customer, and that's a so much more smarter way to work than the now 100-year-old process map that you see on the left side. I think they will live side by side very long in many organizations, but I think that in the future, 10, 15 years from now, I don't think we will see that many process maps. I think we'll see much more customer journey, service blueprint, and that kind of stuff.
It makes sense, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the steps to create a valuable and useful customer journey map. I'll go through the steps, but I'm not going to go through all the steps, but just a brief flyover to give you a good idea. First, there are like three main parts here. Before you start journey mapping, how to create the journey map and how to use the journey map to get results. Those are the three main steps. And now it's a lot of text here, and you shouldn't read all of it. It's just to show you that there's a few parts in there. And if we start with the first one, I'm going to talk about define the purpose of your journey mapping. That's the first thing. You have to define, why are you doing customer journey maps? Maybe that's a crazy question or an odd question to ask. I mean, we're doing customer journey maps, but it's good to answer this question, why are you doing it? What's actually the purpose? Because that will help you in your work. And journey mapping, they should have a purpose and should be actionable, and they could be used for many purposes. And it's good to take a good thinking about what I want to use it for. For instance, for insights, collect insights and get an overview of how the customer experience experiences and our products and services. That's the purpose. Is that the main purpose? There are other purposes. Engaging teams or stakeholders and creating a customer-centric shared view across organization. That's another purpose. How important is that purpose to actually engage? Are you into innovation? That's very important in your industry now, that you have to innovate, to find your new way in this business. Then the customer journey map is a very good starting point for innovation. And prioritizing. I mean, use a customer journey map as a starting point for prioritizing efforts and for realizations. I mean, use a customer journey map as a starting point for a change map, for implementation, to make things start to happen. I mean, those are 5 good reasons, and it's probably all of it for most organizations or for most teams working with customer journey maps. But think through those. Why are we doing it? What do we want to actually use it for? What's the main purpose? That will help you further on in the process. I promise you that. So let's take a look on how to create the journey map, and I will talk about 1, 3, 5, and 9 here. So if we start with, this is one of the most common questions I get always. Which customer journey maps should I choose to start with? Or should we choose to start with? And I put together a few bullets here, really based on my experience from all those years I've been working with this, and I'll go through them. The first one is to start with an area where customer experiences, or the customer experience has an effect on important KPIs in your organization. So start with an area where the customer experience has an effect on important KPIs. This means that you have to start to think, what are our most important KPIs now in our organization, and are they linked to the customer experience? That's where you should start. And also that you begin where a result can be reached, and that you can reach the customer that with this, and you can really affect the KPIs. So the result can reach the customers. That's another thing that it's very important, that you have to prove somehow that we actually did something all the way through. It went all the way through. It reached the customer, and it affects positively our important KPIs. Which means that don't start with something that is too complicated or too far-fetched, or
too big,
or too big or something. Maybe a common mistake is that start where you have your mandate. Don't wait for a bigger mandate, or customer journeys usually go across mandates, departments, but start where you have your mandate. I've seen too many projects just end up with, or two projects, customer journey projects, where people try to cover much bigger thing than they actually have mandate, and then it will be internal conflicts, and you will get to something good. Start small, scoop it down. Instead of starting with the most important, the most critical, and the most comprehensive areas, start small. That's really one of my most important advice is that I've been into organizations where they had so important things to fix and go through, but they were not small. And I've done those mistakes. I've started with the most important things. I've started with the most important parts, and I've been fighting on the barricades internally to get people to understand that. It's so much smarter to start small and show progress.
Show success.
Show success, and then that will lead to working with these bigger questions or the most important areas. So simply start anywhere and show results rather than arguing with your colleagues. Arguing with the colleagues, if you don't follow the above bullets here, you will end up arguing with the colleagues, because you will have to argue with someone who doesn't believe in the customer journey, and they have another mandate, so you have to convince them. You start too big, which means that you have to go to the IT department, and they don't understand what are you talking about. I just give an example. Start small within your mandate where you could show effect. Okay, the next part here, when it comes to actually doing the journey mapping, the customer journey map detail level. This is another very frequent question I get. On what level should we do our customer journey map? Should it be a overall end-to-end on a very high level? Should we go very deep? And how do we mix those? This is another reason why we started to create Castellans a few years ago, that you have to be able to mix the different levels. This is a framework that we use at Castellans. You could use it wherever, but this is what we, and they're not connected to the tool Castellans, but it gives a good understanding of different levels. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. They're very inspired from process mapping. So if we start in level 1, before, during, after, very common in most services. And that's a good way to just decide where to focus. Where are we focusing? Are we focusing on before or during or after? Where is our main issues? It is not a journey mapping, just kind of an overall thing. But level 2 is describing, for instance, activities during, let's say the before, maybe customer makes a research of different alternatives, the customer is signing up. Those steps in a level 2 map, they could be 4 to 10 different steps in a level 2 map. And they are very good for decisions about where to dig in deeper. I mean, everything needs I would say that everything in your whole map needs to be mapped on this level, but not deeper. So it's a level 2 is to get, okay, the sign up is our main challenge, or the boarding, or whatever it could be. So we create a level 2 to decide that we're going to go deeper in sign up.
I think this is really a super good overview. I think it helps a lot of people who struggle and go into too much detail, lose time, right?
Yeah, I see that either you go too deep into details all over the map, but you're just going to focus on one part, so you did half of that for no reason, and or you keep on an overview level, so you can't really make any decisions or any change because you don't go down. So this is a way to prioritize, to understand what level to be on. So on the level, and a level 3, for instance, if you have the sign up, what is happening in the sign up? Checking if the time fits, logging in, calling my grandmother if she could take the kids, etc. when I'm going to go to the doctor, or whatever this could be. And this is a good level to rearrange a journey and to start developing more detail. And the level 4 are really describing the steps. I click there, I use that button, I've been redirected, I retype my password. That's a very good for the really detailed situation. But think now that in some cases you have to go all the way in the detail level 4 to actually achieve change. If you do that in your whole customer journey, that will take you 4 years. And that's really stupid to do it, because maybe it's just to sign up that is the issue here. So do everything on the level 2, go deep to a level 4 where you have to prioritize and make change. Is that clear, and is it understandable?
Yeah, and we got one question from the chat, Daniel, that we can maybe address right now. And it was a pretty good question. You said which map should we start with? That was quite clear, but how many maps do we need to create for one service? How many different journey maps do we need?
For one service, I mean, it really depends on what kind of service that is. It goes back to what do you want to achieve with it. I think it's good to keep it very simple, not create too many different parts. On a level 2, I would say create one for that service and keep your different, I see the customer segment, keep your different customer segment in one map, in a level 2 map. And then when you go deeper into sign up or something, maybe don't do that in that map, go to another map and create the sign up there. So keep it simple, keep a clear overview instead of creating 10 maps that you have to keep updated and keep working with, and try to keep the customer segments in one map, because it's usually you can't do different services, different digital touch points, different stores for different customer segments. You have the same touch points. So then it's better to take those segments, keep them in one map to understand how your solutions will match different customer segments. So,
and what I can add to that probably is, you're completely right that usually the journey is quite similar, but the experience throughout the service is different. And you can really easily, of course, map different experience levels in one map of different customers, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good way to give insights into different customers while having just one map, one journey. All right.
And to keep it simple, create a good overview. That is more important than to have everything detailed in 10 different places for 10 different people to. It's better to create a good overview in one place for the over, and that's good. Go back to this to the different levels here. Work on it on a level 2, because this is applicable for the level 2 part I'm talking about. Great. We go to the next part here. Then now it's time to create lanes. So what lanes should there be? One is customer face, before, during, after, usually. And on the second step here, 2 is the actually customer journey. I mean, this is a lane for activities and situations. What activities or situations do the customer go through? This is the customer journey. And this is, of course, dependent on the detail level that I talked about earlier. 3, what are the customer needs? In this lane, you describe the customer needs during that activity or situation. And then emotional curve. Visualize the customer's emotional state in this lane. And if the customer is happy, it goes up, and vice versa, it goes down. And that's a way to emphasize and to give a simple view, because people will intuitively look at those low buttons or the high ones. Why are we so good? And those low ones, how do we fix them? So it's good to make an emotional curve. Always start from top down. Always, always, always start with the customer face, the journey, the needs, the emotional curve. Work your way from top down in this. Now we're going to start to place content in the map, and I get this question so often that, okay, how do we start? Where do the customer journey actually start, and where does it end? And I would say start in during. Take the first part in the during, and during is that when you meet your customer in your internal process or in your first touch points, and start in this first activity, and then you work your way back and forward from here in the journey. Instead of if you're writing a book or something. I mean, you would start with the one most to the left, and then you would go through to the right. That's not the way to do a customer journey. Start enduring, work your way forward, work your way backwards, like asking, okay, what happened before? What happened after? And what happened after that, and after that, and after that? And where does it end? And and if you start and follow that tip in the slide before, you start with what happened after, then you come to a situation where this is actually the real last part in the. For instance, in this one, the first thing here. This is for a mortgage example of a customer journey mortgage. I mean, life-changing situation like getting a job in another city, having another kid. Probably those would be the first part in this customer journey. Not looking at a new apartment, not talking to the bank. Probably it is having another kid. We live too small. We need a bigger apartment. And the last one in this is like the tax declaration of the apartment, like 15 months after the sales. Probably that's the last customer journey in this one, or the last step in this customer journey.
We're getting some good questions in the chat, and I'll keep them for the end of the masterclass. I'm seeing all your questions, great, guys, so I'll keep them for the end.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, now it's time to place context in your map on those first, second, third, and fourth line. On the highest level in the customer phases here, I mean the before, during, after. That's usually the way. It's a good way to start. And then on the level 2, the customer journeys. What are they doing? What are their activities? This is the questions to ask yourself. In what situations are the customers in this part? For instance, waiting for answer or receiving a letter. And those are the things that you type in here. And the customer needs, the question to ask yourself is that what needs do the customer have in this activity situation? Needs to know how long time will it take, how much will it cost, very common questions. And in the emotional curve, how does it feel for our customer in this activity and situation? So, time for some questions, Mark.
Sabina has answered a lot of questions for us already, so that's awesome. Thanks for the help, Sabina. One question that we got is, do you generally simplify the emotional curve just to be low or high, or do you actually define the emotions too, like frustration, excitement, nervous? How do you approach it, Daniel?
I think it's very good to make a low and high, to simplify it and make low and high. But then I think it's very important to describe what is it, because low could be very different things. It could be sad and it could be angry, and the customer will be very, very different to handle if it's a sad customer or if it's an angry customer or if it's a but it's a low. It's low. So I think that is good to make the to simplify it, but it's, and for instance, customer, I mean, you write there in the sublane, you write what are the emotions.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how we use it too. We almost always have a separate lane, 1 or 2 lanes that describe why that emotion is low or high. So what's the trigger? What is, and how does that relate to the needs and desires of this specific customer? We use a separate lane for that usually.
That's really good to do it, because you have to have that information there to solve the problem.
Yeah, and you want to link that emotion to the needs and desires of customers. One more question, and then we'll save the rest for the end. Ali is asking, what if a customer does not follow a defined journey map?
That's a really good question. I mean, a journey map is kind of on an overall level, all customers will follow the journey map. And the more you start to detail it down and go down to in a level 2, level 3, there will be customers that doesn't follow this journey map. So this is what you have to have in this discussion internally to see on, are the majority of our customers following this journey map? And I've been in several projects and several cases where I say, okay, 90% follow this. Let's focus now on fixing this thing for the 90%. And then we could start to take out different customers and in different lanes, maybe in the same map, place the other one, the 5% that doesn't follow it. But there are people that will never follow the mainstream. But so it's a really good question. And I think that it's a really good question from another perspective as well. It's so common that development initiatives get totally shot down by people talking about, I met one customer 2 years ago. She didn't do exactly like this. So this is bad. Okay, now we have 25 customers probably following the same kind of route. So yes, but I met one customer. So this is not good. It's very important here to understand that we have a bigger overall picture, and this is what we're trying to collect. And then we have people that don't follow that, and then we could keep working with them on other ways, and we will get energy to work with them if we could solve this big mainstream flow of customers going in the mainstream flow.
I guess the question you need to answer for yourself is this journey map that I'm drawing here representative for the customer that I want to serve?
Yes.
If not, then you created the wrong customer journey map.
Yeah.
You focused on the wrong group.
Then it goes back to what mandate do we have? How do you affect the KPIs? What do you want to? What's the purpose with the customer journey map? So then you go back to those slides and just look there. Why are you doing it? And how could you achieve something with the customer journey map?
Let's move on, Daniel, because I see a lot of questions. So if you've got some pretty cool stuff left for us, and let's keep the questions for the end. Yeah.
How long does it take to create the customer journey map? And I mean, we at Castellans try to put together something. There's no rules, but I mean, this is a good just to stick to something that could help you a little bit. It's a lot of text here, but it's a good go back to this. Then make a screenshot, share it if you want to. I mean, a level one, just based on assumptions, it doesn't take more than 20 seconds. If you're going to base it on research, on customer-based research, it would probably take a week or something. And that's really, depending on complexity, map size, team skills, do you use a good mapping tool or something like that. Level 2, assumption-based, 1 day, research-based, a month. Level 3, assumption-based, a week, and research-based, 2 months. And level 2, assumption-based, 2 weeks, and research-based, 4 months. You see a big difference here between assumptions and research-based, and that is usually the big difference between how long it takes. If you just start workshopping with the know-how you have, and you make assumptions, I mean, that's a good starting point. But if you really want to do it based on customer research, it will take so much more time, but you will get so much high quality. Hopefully, this gives you some guidance in how long it will take you.
And yeah, there was one question related to, can you make a customer journey map without field research? I think your answer is yes, you can do that. And sometimes it's smart to do that because it can get things going. But you just have to know that it shouldn't be your endpoint, I guess.
If you asked me 10 years ago, I would say definitely you need customer research. But today I know that I've been in so many organizations that it's so hard to fight for customer research. So it's better to do a customer journey on assumption-based customer journeys. And when you start to do changes that will affect IT and it will cost a lot of money, then the managers will start to think, is that really right? Should we maybe ask the customers? Is this really assumption-based? Can we really? And then you will come to a point where you say, thanks, boss. That's really good. Now I will go and ask the customer if that's really. And that's a much, much better environment to work with then start to get budget for real customer research. So start assumption-based and then trigger the customer research. Much more smart way to work. Okay. But it is like that. In one day, you can have something. I mean, it depends on the detail level and not too complex. Good enough to show your boss and stakeholders. That goes back to the question here. It's good to just put something up there. Start working with this something instead of waiting for the customer research or whatever you do. And you can have that in one day. And of course, you you need some team skills and you need some tools to go to professional, etc. But it's not more complicated than that. Just start doing it. So this is the last section here. That what does it mean to customer journey map on a professional level? Okay, first here is that professionals map customer activities or situations first, then touch points, where non-professionals map touch points first, and thereby they miss the customer interaction with others. I think I saw a question here in the chat. What is a touch point? Was it? Did I miss that?
I think it was answered. Yeah.
Has that been answered? Okay, that's the
meeting. It has been answered.
Where our organization meet the customer. And for the second, professionals calibrate the level of customer research with the investment that the customer journey will propel. So if we will do a lot of investments in changing, and that will cost a lot of money, it means that we need more customer research. While non-professionals either have very vague research or far too much research. I've seen both. I've seen where you have so much research and the project just went to the research death, or you don't have any research at all. So it's so vague. People are just guessing internally and working on wishful thinking. The third thing that differentiate non-professionals from professionals. Focus equally on what to start and stop doing based on the customer journey map. While non-professionals, they only focus on what to start to do based on the customer journey map. We are not doing this and we have to start doing this. The competitors are doing this and we should start doing it too. Start. But you don't have that energy in your organization. So you have to understand, based on the customer journey map, what could we stop do? We are sending them this form. They don't want it. We don't need it. Take it away. That will give.
We lost you, Daniel. Daniel is gone. Let's see if we can get Daniel back. A lot of people are still in, and I've seen all your questions. Daniel, you're back.
Yeah, I'm here.
When
did you lose me?
Like 10 seconds ago, so we didn't miss a lot.
Okay, I'm talking about that. What professionals do is that they focus equally on what to start doing and what to stop doing, because what we stop do will give you energy for the things that you should do. On the next one, professionals give as much attention to the before and after as the during phase, while the non-professionals, they neglect the before and after in those 3 steps. And they look at the internal, because that's where we have our internal processes. And that's not a professional way to do it, because everything that happens in the during are dependent on what happened before. When you meet the customer for this mortgage, it's dependent on why are they moving. They have new kids, they got a job in another city, or etc. So you have to know before. Professionals understand that. Professionals spread their maps across the departments. They co-create, they share, they engage, and they work with openness. While non-professionals, they consider the maps as our department's own secret. I've met people saying that, this is our branding department's map. Okay, you on sales, develop your own. That's not a professional way to work with customer journey maps. Spread it across functions, co-create, engage, work with openness. Professionals consider the left to right timeline as wholly in the map. So what is happening more to the right in the map will happen and take place after that's to the left in the map. So while non-professionals, they mix up the timeline, resulting in a map that are very hard to understand and need explanations all the time.
We've had questions about circular maps and maps with loops and forks and stuff like that. And what was your answer to that?
They could look very arty and very innovative and very cool, but they are extremely hard to follow. So it's so much better to have a very straight line, which is wholly. If something is put after that, it will take place after. If something is before, it will take place before. Round maps is sometimes a very good thing to explain things, but you are doing the customer journey maps to achieve some change. And how do you attach change to a round map? It will go out and out and out and out and out and out. Or you have to put it somewhere else. And how do you connect then things to that? So going from left to right is the smartest way. Even if you have maybe have a round map, a round thing where people go round and round, you want to achieve change. Is that?
It's good enough.
Okay, good. I go on. Professionals make decisions and actions based on the customer journey map and consider them as change plans. While non-professionals, this goes back to the question that I just answered. Non-professionals, they make static documentational customer journey maps. So professionals understand that this is a decision and action. It's also made for decision and action. They are not static. And that's a change plan. And professionals value the output the customer journey will result in, while non-professionals value the creation and great-looking customer journey maps as artifacts as such, good things to print on the wall, to put up there in our projects room. But what professionals do, they focus on the output. What output will this customer journey map achieve? How could we make it the most effective way to achieve output, not creating good-looking artifacts? So, Mark.
Wow, Daniel.
Thanks.
Awesome. Okay. I'm going to give you a moment to breathe and to share my screen for a second. Let's see if it works. There we go. Awesome story, Daniel. We get a lot of input. We get a lot of questions, which we're going to answer in a few minutes. Great story. And I think you've summarized so many points about customer journey maps that are so important. Like we call this the customer journey mapping essentials masterclass, and I think you nailed all the essentials. So I'm going to take a few minutes to recap and wrap up this masterclass, and then at the end we'll stay as long as the people want us to stay and answer all the questions. I'm so happy that almost everybody who joined is still here. Round of applause for you guys. Give me a few minutes to round up this section, and then we'll be all yours. So there we go. Let's recap. What did we talk about? What did a lot of claps? Good to see that. We talked about why do we need customer journey maps? How and when can I use them? We talked about what is a customer journey map? How does it differ from an employee map? Experience map, great story about that. What are the steps to create a customer journey map? You showed like 28 steps, but we talked only about a few of them, but that should give a really good overview of what's needed. We talked about, there we go, how much time do I need? And finally, professional level maps. What's the difference between maps on a professional level and the maps non-professionals make? I think that slide was the most valuable one for me. So in the beginning, I introduced a few myths around customer journey maps, and I want to double check them with you guys in the chat to see if they are busted. So customer journey maps are not worth the investment. They take too much of my time and energy without showing results. I think we've shown that you can make customer journey maps really fast, and if you have the right focus, there will always be a good investment. Just the focus is so important. The second myth, I don't have the right or enough user research to start. I think you busted that myth so hard, Daniel. You start assumption-based and then work your way towards research. So you don't need shitload of data, user research to actually start. And I think I got a third one. Other departments need to be ready first. We need the IT departments. No, you don't. Start with your own mandate. Start small, guys. Finally, I have another one. You have to be an expert with years of experience to create customer journey maps. If you have the right team, if you have the right tools, if you have the right scope, you can do this without having a lot of experience and without taking a lot of time. And finally, to create professional maps, I need an art school degree. Some of us probably think so, but with awesome tools like Castellans out there, you don't need that. And it's not about how a map looks, but what it eventually does. So these were some of the myths I hope we were able to bust during this masterclass. So how can you use this knowledge? You go back to your office, to your studio tomorrow, and how can you use this knowledge you gained in this masterclass? Well, you can use it to, for instance, judge the quality of existing customer journey maps. Are they any good? You can create better briefings for agencies to create maps for you. You can spread the message why customer journey maps are so vital for your business. You can participate on a deeper level in discussions about customer journey maps. I think we've given you so much input to really understand, have a deeper understanding about the power of customer journey maps, that this will enable you to do that. And you can take the step to actually start creating your own customer journey maps. Maybe that's the most important part of this, this session today. So, question, and I'd like to see yes or no in the chat. Has this masterclass impacted your view on customer journey maps? I hope you enjoyed it so far, but I also hope it has somewhat impacted it. Yes, totally. Cool. I'd like to see more yes in the chat, guys. So what's next? Really briefly, what if you want to start creating your own maps on a professional level? I introduced this already in the beginning, that we would talk a little bit about this. And we totally encourage you to create your own customer journey maps. You don't have to ask an agency, go out and do it yourself. But there's just one thing you need to be aware of before you start doing this. And that's the thing that details matter. So once you start creating your own maps, you'll see that there's a lot of small things that can actually make or break a map. On the overall level, I think Daniel did a fantastic job to show you how to do this, but there are a lot of details. The fact that you understand for 90% how a car works isn't good enough to get it running, right? If you get that last 10% wrong, nothing probably will happen. The car won't start. And while this happens with customer journey maps also quite often, people start doing something but forget or probably are not aware of the details, and the details are not the details. So you might end up saying that, you know, customer journey maps, I've tried them and they just didn't work for me. And maybe that's not true, because you were missing out on a great opportunity if you just got the details wrong. Well, here's the thing. Daniel and I have been creating maps for years, and we've been teaching people how they can do it too. So we thought, well, why not put our collective knowledge into this and create something that is going to actually be really helpful for people like you who are starting to create their own customer journey maps on a professional level. So what if you could, here we go. There we go. What if you could speed up your learning curve? What if you could prevent making the common mistakes people make when making customer journey maps? And what if you could deliver higher quality maps and save time doing so? Guys, would you be interested in this? Because if your answer is yes, then let me ask you a question. I've got 5 more minutes in my slot to show you a course that Daniel and I have put together. It's not ready yet, so this is like a preview. Let me know in the chat if you're interested that I tell you a little bit more about the course that we're sort of pre-announcing right now, and that is a course that will help you to create maps on a professional level. Yes, I see a few yes. Let me know if you're interested to learn a little bit more about it, and then we'll move on to the maps. Okay, cool. A lot of yes. Great. Let's move on. 5 minutes. We already rebranded this course, so it has a new name. But here it's basically the 5-step guide to creating professional journey maps, the unofficial customer journey mapping survival guide. I think we already rebranded it. But this is like the main topic of the course. And it's going to allow you to create high quality customer journey maps that your organization will actually use without wasting time or risking your career or reputation. And what you're really going to get is a clear step-by-step guide by me and Daniel that teaches you the effective and repeatable process which Daniel and I use to create customer journey maps that always work. So that's what you're going to get, and this is what's going to be inside in the course. A few lessons: how to structure your map, understanding the customer. Next one is mapping the activities, extracting insights, and expanding the map. This is like the main content of this course, the 5 lessons. There's a bit more already in the course, but this is like the key thing. So you might have joined today in this masterclass because you don't know where to start making customer journey maps. You want to take your existing customer journey mapping skills to a next level, or maybe you're looking for a convincing story about customer journey maps that will convince your coworkers, your managers, or your boss to invest in customer centricity. Well, this upcoming course is going to build upon all of these things. The slides are a bit wacky. So this course is for you if you don't want to waste your time creating maps just to realize at the end that you can start all over again. Unfortunately, this happens. A lot of people with good intentions start creating maps, and I encourage you to create maps, but don't make the mistakes, unnecessary mistakes, and at the end realize that you need to start all over again. So it's for you if you aren't interested. Yeah, this is really important. This is how we came basically to the course. This course is for you if you aren't interested in just to participate in the customer-centric transformation, but if you want to take the lead. I think this is so important. You guys who are here are pioneers. You're ready not only to participate, but really be in charge. And this course is going to help you to do that. So we've put together a course based on 30 years of our real life experience making customer journey maps. We've made all the mistakes, a lot of them we probably still do, but we've did it so that you don't have to do this. And it will save you a lot of time surfing around the internet, looking for the information, checking YouTube. And if you do your best, spend enough time, you can probably find a lot of the information that is in the course. But we've compressed it down into a really small bite-sized package in a neat order that it's easy to consume for you. So it's going to be launched. I hope we can launch it somewhere in September, October. So that's when we're going to release it to the big public. But there's a way you can get on the waiting list and get early access to the course. Drum roll, because I'm going to explain how you can do that. But yeah, two or three bonuses. If you sign up for this course, once we start releasing this course, you will get a 1 month free customer professional plan. With the regular price of that is 50 euros. So you can start making your maps. You can start doing what we're teaching in the course within Castellans, and you're going to get 1 month for free. That's the first bonus. Second bonus is you're going to get unlimited access to this masterclass recording. If you want to start right now with Castellans, you can sign up for free. You can get a free membership at castellans.com, but you'll get a the professional plan included in the course. Right. So we've created sort of like a pre-order bundle. It's the course. It's the 1 month of Castellans. It's a recording of this masterclass, and you'll get early access to the course. And what you're basically getting is a clear step-by-step guide that teaches you the effective and repeatable process which Daniel and I use to create customer journey maps that always works. That's our promise. So you get to look over our shoulders as we build a map and follow our thought process. I think that's also really important in this course, that we're not going only to show you the steps because Daniel already mapped them out, but we're going to create a map and we're going to tell you what we're doing and explain why we're doing what we're doing, so you understand our thought process, the decisions we make along the way. And when we do this, when we do a similar customer journey mapping training course in a corporate environment, a corporate training, the total value easily exceeds 500 euros per person. Don't worry, that's not what we're going to charge for this course. We want to make it much more accessible. But just to give you an impression how much value we've put into this course, and I'm going to show you in a second what the price is that we're going to charge. The initial price that we're going to ask for the course, the investment will be 97 euros. This might change, but this is the initial price. And like I said, we have a pre-order bundle. It's the complete course, customer professional plan, masterclass recording, early access, and you're only going to have to invest 47 euros in it. So you're going to get over 50% discount if you sign up for a pre-order bundle once it's ready. This is like the amazing package. I think we'll eventually put the price even up higher, but the people who pre-order will get it for this insane low price. Even the Castellans professional plan is already 50 euros, so you're getting basically the course for free. Anyway, right. So if you need to create a customer journey map tomorrow, but aren't sure where to start or what the right steps are, you should take this course. It's definitely going to help you to do that. If you're worried about losing time, creating maps that don't work and end up in the best scenario, decorating your office walls, we're going to help you to prevent that. Then this course is really, really for you. So to summarize it all, we're going to help you create better maps in less time and really help you lead the customer-centric transformation. Well, this is our promise. This will be the very best customer journey mapping course out there, and the single one you only need. That's the bar we're aiming for. Like I said, lead the customer-centric transformation. That's what we're hoping for. 47 euros pre-order bundle. Now, you can't order it yet. I know a lot of people are waiting with the credit cards. You can't order it yet, but you can get on the waiting list. And for that, you need to go to servicedesignshow.com/CJM, customer journey mapping. If you go to that site, you can sign up to get on the waiting list. And if you are on that waiting list, we'll send you a notification once we enable you to actually sign up and buy the pre-order bundle. But you need to be on that waiting list. So get on the waiting list if you're interested in the course. It will be out, I hope, in September, October. But make sure that you get on the waiting list if you're interested. Daniel, Q&A. A lot of people are still with us. Final things. Let's go through the questions. I think Sabina has collected a lot of them and will be here for as long as the people need us. Have you seen any of the questions, Daniel, that you'd like to address right now? Have you been following the chat, or do we need to scroll through the questions?
I'm scrolling through them. Yeah, I've seen a lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
It's a lot of questions. I don't know where to start, actually. I saw one. What's the difference between a Mural and Castellans? And I saw that my colleague answered this. I mean, Mural is basically a whiteboard with post-its, and it's not a customer journey mapping tool. It's a virtual creativity tool. That's a huge difference. Let's see what we have more.
Here is an interesting question. I'm sorry, I don't see who asked this question, but it's how often do you refine the journey map in a service design process?
Sorry, how often do you
refine or iterate or update the customer journey map? How often should you do that?
I worked for several years for the Swedish liquor monopoly. That's a kind of Swedish thing. It's a very odd thing. So you can only buy wine there, nowhere else. We decided together that every third year they have to go through all the customer journeys and make revisions and see are they still accurate, or do they have to make any changes. But in a fast moving forward project and innovative team or for a service, I mean, you have to do it much more often than that, for sure.
And the key thing, I think, what you already addressed is as soon as you start using a customer journey map as a change plan instead of a static end deliverable, this question sort of becomes it disappears, because you're always updating the customer journey map on daily, right?
Yeah, I mean, 1 week after you are finished with your customer journey maps, it's outdated. 1 week, because immediately something will change.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
It might not be a change in the customer activities, but it might be a change within your internal processes, right?
Yeah, some always say, we already solved that. Great, now it's solved. Yeah. Okay, so now the customer journey is outdated, which means that you have to change it to have an accurate and new view. As you say, the activities, they will be the same, the before, during, after activities, needs, etc. But when you go much more deeper, things will change and things will happen, and that's where the magic takes place.
When does the magic take place? When you start updating it?
When you start updating it, but also the magic takes place in the lanes under the emotional curves. What you actually do of it, what opportunities do you find, what ideas, what solutions, what do you create? Just by understanding the customer journey, that won't change anything.
Another question was, is it recommended to do a customer journey map on your own business, or should you have someone from outside helping to get perspective?
It's better to do it yourself than nothing, but it's so much better to have someone from outside with a different perspective. We see it in Castellans and in the consultancy firm I worked in before. When we tried to do things on our own, it was very, very hard. So it's good to have someone else's perspective, because you have your internal mind. That's a very, very, very good question. Thank you for
that. Let's see, different maps for the same service, but for different personas to cover everyone. I think we sort of addressed that one, right? If you have 7 personas, do you create 7 customer journey maps for a service? What would you say?
Sorry, but I'm reading.
Well, if you have 5 or 6 different personas, would you create 5 or 6 different customer journey maps for a single service?
Make them in the same customer journey, because otherwise you will have 5 different organizations serving those different customers, and you have to have one organization, maybe some different solutions for different customers, but it's so much smarter to have it in the same map instead of having it in a lot of different places. And it's good to see what's the difference between those different personas.
And I would say only make a different map if the journey is really different, right? If the journey differs, if the activities are really different for different persona, then it might be smart to actually create a new map. But if the journey overall is is the same?
If they are quite similar on a level 2, then keep them in the same one. But if they are very FCs, I totally agree. If they're totally different, then it's better to make another one.
Yeah. I'll just read them out and see. I'm not sure if I understand this one correctly. How, as a designer, create before and after while units prefer to work in silos? All right. So I think this question is what we often find in daily in practice is we and customer journey maps service designers like to take a holistic perspective on things. We don't care about silos, so we start mapping all the activities, and we really quickly go beyond the mandate that we actually have. Yeah. Is that smart? You know, how does this combine with what you said? Stick to your mandate.
It's smart to have that mindset. It's not smart to act like that, because it's better to keep inside your mandate, but you think holistically, but you do things within your mandate, and you create real impact and change. Because if you don't keep to your mandate, you will start to argue and fight with other people, other departments, and they will be more strong than you. And so it's better to start your mandate, but think, kind of act small, but think big.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it once to me is, you know, there's nothing wrong with actually creating a customer journey map that is quite holistic and has overlaps a lot of departments. But just act or translate those insights within your own mandate, but have that bigger picture ready when people start approaching you, right? I think there's nothing wrong with actually making a holistic map.
No, I think it's very important to make the holistic map, but to understand where your mandate stops. And I think this mandate thing is it's very important, because people will see you as a threat instead of an opportunity if you don't stick to your mandate. You could think in a bigger perspective, but to do achievements where you on your garden and not in their garden.
Yeah, great. Let's see. Here's another question. When we do the level 1 customer journey map, what should be the deliverable that we should focus on?
I mean, the level 1 is very before, during, after. So I would say that the level 1 is not useful. It's not useful for more than understanding where are the focus points here. Is the problem before? Meeting the first meetings, understanding what happened before they came to our service. Is that the issue, or is it during? Do we have problems during, or do we have problems after? For instance, in traveling, charter traveling, what happened after? How do we get people that come home from the travel in Thailand or whatever? You book their next travel. That's an issue after. The output in that should be where do we have to focus? A prioritization focus. Should we focus before? Should we focus during or after? Or do we have to go a little bit deeper to a level 2 in all those steps before we can prioritize? I would say that for most public organizations I've been working with, the problem is always before. They have so much know-how in during, and they know so little on when it comes to before.
Yeah, as soon as people walk into their door, then for them the service or the process starts. But from the customer perspective, it starts much earlier, right? Sabina, any new questions for us? Did we forget something? Any input? Maybe new questions? Let's see. I see Ali asking here, do you think customer personas are ideal assumptions? As a customer, sometimes we follow different personas for the same product acquisition process, so I'm not sure. So doesn't it make the persona segmentation a little doubtful? How useful are personas? I think that is Ali's question.
How useful are personas? I think that you have to know who you are doing something for. And I think that creating a very personas, I think sometimes could be more of a threat than
Oh, we lost you for we lost you for 5 seconds.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I think that you have to have an idea, and you have to somehow communicate who are we doing this for, segments or different target groups or whatever. But to make personas in the way that those are the age, the education, where they live, it could be, or the name, or how they think. It's usually they are too too sharp or too cut and down to something. It's much better to describe a group instead of course it could be good to do a character which you call a persona, but I see that most times they create more mess than actually describe who we are doing something for.
And I agree. I found that over the last years we haven't created almost any personas. What we've been doing these days is we've been using the empathy map, which is a super simple canvas, but it's really useful because it focuses on like the soft parts, the needs, desires, the attitudes, and I think you're not able to create a good customer journey map without actually understanding the needs and desires of the person who is going through the customer journey. So you need to have them. Oh, I don't know. Oh, that was my that was my battery. I need to turn on the light. So you need to have a person and understand their needs and desires, but it doesn't have to be a persona per se. It doesn't have to be that elaborate. Right?
Yeah, I agree totally. I see an interesting question here from Money Move. Do you think using digital tools for journey mapping in workshops could be more effective than traditional methods? That's a very, very good question. When you meet people and you work with Post-its on a wall, and that's a very good way to team up, to meet each other, to talk, to be creative together, to maybe you have silos internally and you try to tear those silos down, etc. Then it's very, very good to meet each other. But then you come to a point where you say, okay, what are we going to do with this material? How do we go further? And someone have to do something of it. And then to make something, because if you don't do anything with this workshop, people don't go to the next workshop because they go to workshops and nothing happens with it. And the third time they won't show up. They have better things to do. So it's a good thing to meet, but then you have to go into something where you create a structure, a digital tool where you could keep on. And that's the next thing. People don't come up with the best ideas during the workshops. They come up with the best idea a week after. So they have to have, that's where the digital tool really helps. They have to go back to something and say, type in this idea, what do you think about that? Another thing is that the hardest thing, if you don't have everybody in the same place, and if you can't really travel that much because you have to think of your carbon footprint on this earth. So you can't move everybody. So people will be in the different city and they can't participate in the workshops. And they will be your antagonists. So you do the best workshop, but you have people that can't be with you. That's where it's very clever to use digital tools as well. to work in this physical workshop in a digital tool, and invite those people from that city or from that. They are spread over the world in most organizations today. So if you don't have everybody in the same place, usually you want more people in the workshops who don't have antagonists that couldn't go to the workshops and that's why they don't like the output. So use digital tools to keep on workshopping and for inviting people that are not there physically. And yeah, I've seen those mistakes and those the upside with this so many times. So I really I speak from my own experience of this.
I think we answered a lot of questions. The only thing I can say, because I think we should just sort of start to wrap up, is if you have any questions left, or if you come up with a good question later today, reach out to Daniel through LinkedIn, through email, reach out to me. We're super open. We're definitely here to help you make the best of your time and effort making customer journey maps. You're on a mission and we're here to help. So feel free to reach out to us. There's one thing you can help us with, and that is we had to close the registration for this edition of this masterclass because it was full. So we decided to do a new session in 2 weeks' time. And if you know someone who might be interested in what we've just discussed in the last almost 2 hours, and join us live, share the webinar or the masterclass URL with them and let them know that we'll be doing a new session on September 5th. That would be awesome. Daniel, any last words?
Good luck. If you start creating customer journeys there, good luck. And you are doing a very, very important job doing better experiences for people out there. So, and good luck. And don't, as Mark said, don't hesitate to get in contact with us and ask your questions. I'm sure there are many questions that we haven't covered yet, that we haven't answered. Just mail us. We love questions.
Yes, we absolutely love questions. Daniel, I'll see you in 2 weeks' time in the next edition of the masterclass. So much. I want to thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Mark. And thank you for moderating this excellent session. Thanks a lot.
And I think Sabina was sharing the link to the masterclass, but we'll also share it on. Keep in touch with us on LinkedIn, and you'll see the link. Thanks a lot, guys and girls.
Thanks to the audience. I mean, you've been very lovely to work with. Bye. Take care.
Amazing that you stuck around for so long. Awesome. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.